Look closely at the mechanics inside today's most exclusive luxury watches. You are looking at components so intricately machined and assembled that pieces featuring them routinely sell for 6 to 7 figures at auction. Yet, if you ask master watchmakers about this specific, incredibly expensive rotating assembly, they will tell you a surprising truth. In a modern wristwatch, it serves virtually no practical purpose for keeping time. Actually, it can even act as a physical hindrance. Driving this complex rotating cage requires extra energy, meaning the watch needs a much heavier power source just to keep it moving, while adding unwanted friction to the entire movement. The luxury watch industry continues to invest millions in perfecting a machine that science has already left behind. To understand the obsession, we have to look back to 1775. Abraham-Louis Breguet had just opened his workshop in Paris. He was a prodigious inventor, but he faced a constant, invisible physical enemy that ruined the precision of his clocks: gravity. This diagram illustrates the core issue. In the 18th century, a gentleman's pocket watch sat vertically in a waistcoat all day long. In that static position, gravity continuously pulls down on the same side of the stationary balance wheel, the part of the watch that regulates time, causing a buildup of positional errors. This image shows an early marine chronometer secured inside a heavy brass gimbal. For scientists and navigators trying to calculate longitude at sea, isolating their timekeepers from physical movement and positional errors was quite literally a matter of survival. Fixing this wasn't a matter of adjusting a few gears. Beating the vertical gravity problem required an entirely new architecture for how the timekeeping components physically interacted with space. In 1801, Breguet patented his solution. He called it the tourbillon, the French word for whirlwind. He designed a tiny mobile enclosure called a tourbillon cage to house the watch's most sensitive regulatory parts. Placing the escapement and balance wheel inside a cage rotating 360 degrees breaks the gravity trap. Watch the force distribution. Gravitational error from one position is dragged through every angle, mathematically averaging gravity's pull to yield a constant rate. Constructing this device was agonizingly difficult. The components were microscopic by the standards of the day, and they had to be perfectly balanced. Breguet managed to produce roughly 35 of these tourbillons during his entire lifetime. He didn't build them to be decorative. These original mechanisms were hidden under solid metal dials, designed strictly as hyper-functional scientific instruments to conquer a specific physical force. But as the 20th century arrived, human habits changed. The static pocket watch was replaced by the wristwatch, which constantly swings and tilts with the movement of the human arm. This created an incredible historical irony. Because a wrist is in continuous, random motion across dozens of angles, the wearer's arm naturally solves the vertical gravity problem. The 1801 solution was suddenly doing a job that no longer needed doing. Instead of discarding the tourbillon, watchmakers repurposed it into a playground for mechanical expression. In 1920, Alfred Hellwig invented the flying tourbillon, completely removing the upper support bridge to give viewers an unobstructed, theatrical look at the spinning cage. Engineers later pushed the concept into 3 dimensions, with the gyro tourbillon, adding a secondary cage rotating at a 30-degree incline. As the nested cages spin, they trace a path covering 98% of all spatial orientations, a staggering effort to account for 3-dimensional wrist movements. Watchmakers turned the rotating cage into an obsessive experiment in 3-dimensional physics, moving far beyond the simple pursuit of pocket watch accuracy. Modern horologists approach this complexity with clear-eyed realism. Master watchmakers, like the late George Daniels seen here, openly concede that putting a tourbillon in a wristwatch introduces practical flaws. There is a heavy physical penalty for the spectacle. Pushing that heavy rotating cage adds massive inertia to the gear train. To overcome this, the watch requires a significantly stronger mainspring, the coiled metal band that powers the entire movement, which increases wear and tear on the microscopic parts. When you test them in pure chronometric precision competitions today, standard watches consistently outperform their incredibly complex counterparts. In the strict scientific pursuit of keeping perfect time, the tourbillon has been thoroughly defeated by simpler, lighter mechanics. As digital technology rendered all mechanical timekeeping obsolete, the tourbillon found a new purpose. It became luxury theater. As shown on the intricate dial of this Patek Philippe, the mechanism is prized today purely for its aesthetic drama and elite status. There is a booming submarket dedicated solely to these hypnotic machines. Collectors willingly pay millions of dollars for bespoke pieces, driven by deep brand heritage and the raw visual spectacle of the spinning cage. And yet, the engineering has not stagnated. Modern brands continuously iterate on Breguet's original idea, manufacturing friction-reducing silicon parts and using anti-magnetic materials just to keep this 1801 invention alive and ticking in the 21st century. The modern tourbillon outlived its scientific utility centuries ago. It stands now as a kinetic monument, a celebration of human inventiveness and the drive to master physical laws.